how much of your suffering is dependent on relationships? It is a very important question because I think many people underestimate how powerful relationships are. And I'm not talking about someone who has a problem with in their family or something like that. Normal people work in relationships at that level. I'm talking the big scale. You're constantly every day relating to other people. The world, wars, environment, politics, but also in your close environment, coworkers, friends, people you live with, family. All these relationships create a lot of stress in your life, don't they? It's very important to realize that. You will be surprised, hopefully in a good way, to discover that, well, all your dreams depend on other people. Everything depends on other people. And it's a very miserable position to be because you need other people to fulfill their role in your theater, in your dreams. And it's impossible. People have their own will. And you cannot control them. You cannot really change them. So we are in a constant stress because of other people. We are afraid of other people. We are afraid of the world because you don't know what the other people are going to do. Maybe they're crazy and they do something that is threatening. In any case, most of our trouble, our personal suffering actually comes from relationship. So it's important to give them a top rank place in your life. Not a specific special relationship. I'm talking about the way you relate to the world and to other people. Because I wanted to discover how powerful you are. We normally put ourselves in the position of that we need other people to behave in certain ways and do certain things. And then we feel what we want to feel, that is love, right? But that is completely wrong. The love you feel is the love you give. The love you experience when you're with someone you love, it's not because this person is giving you anything. It's because you are fully giving yourself to the moment and experiencing this person as an innocent being. That recognition makes you feel like you are the other person some way. That's why you will give anything for that person that you love. But the problem is when we realize that we need this person to do certain things, behave in certain things, say certain things, and then we feel suddenly a slave because we need them to do what we need them to do to feel love. And that's a huge mistake because it's not. It's disempowering to start with, but it sets us in a position of fear. So someone who's giving you, that you think, I really love this person, it made me feel really good. Suddenly we just end up possessing them like treasures, like something we want to keep. That, as romantic as it may seem for some songs, I need you, but it's actually very unhealthy for you and for the other person. For you, because you are constantly stressed, trying to figure out how to get the other person to give you what you expect them to give you so you can feel that love again. But for the other person, obviously, it's also stressful because you're probably faking behavior. You're doing things you may not want it to do really, but you do it because you want them to be pleased so they can please you afterwards. So it's like a trading. And that's like being a beggar, but you are the king. Because what we don't realize, because we are unconscious to our own internal process, we don't realize that that love that we feel is already ours. No one ever gave you love. You don't need anyone. I mean, whole world is there and you need them. But you don't need them in the emotional way. You don't need them in the sense that unless you have their approval, you're not going to be happy. That's what society tells us. We are obviously way more malleable when we are ready to do things we don't want to do just to please other people. So I understand how that's going around. But you don't need to be part of that. You can be free. You can nurture your own feeling of love. And you don't do that by expecting that someone makes you feel love. By feeling dependent on someone doing something in some way that it pleases you, makes you feel happy. No, that's not true. That makes you a slave, that makes you fearful, and you will hate when someone gives you the thing that you want the most, and suddenly they stop giving it to you. You will feel hate and fear. So no, it's not a good way to approach relationships. The better way, the only way actually, is by noticing that the love that you feel is the love you give. So you just give yourself. That empowers you. That suddenly gives you full power. You don't need the other person. You do whatever you have to do because you love them. And it's not that you put yourself in a position where you don't love yourself. By any means, that is not love. When people wouldn't attend to their own needs for other people. I mean, there are some exceptions where that's a noble thing to do, but in general, I'm not talking about letting other people abuse you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking that you're free, that you don't need anyone. So no one can abuse you ever, because you will never ask anyone for anything, really. Or better said, you don't need that anyone pleases you. And you give yourself like a parent will give themselves to their little kids. And sometimes little kids can be very difficult. It is normal for a 2-3-year-old to be extremely selfish. They're not doing that on purpose. And the parent is suffering that some way because the kid is very demanding and very unfair. And yet the parent is just giving love. It's just love them because they're not seeing that part of the story. They're not needing the kid to give them. In the giving, as a parent, they find themselves the only thing that they need. So they don't need the other person to be perfect. If you start considering your relationships from this point of view, hopefully, and it should, I hope so, produce a profound turnaround, because you don't need them, but the important thing is that you feel love. That's the important aspect of here. I'm not saying leave relationships or don't attend to the needs of other people. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about exploring what it is to fully love people, and just experiment to see if you actually feel love when you give it or when you take it. When you take it, you're passive, and it's like something comfortable happening to you. But come on, that cannot last. So you're going to end up suffering. It's like a drug. On the other hand, if you just follow your heart, you don't need to force yourself to love someone. Just follow your heart, your appreciation. You'll find yourself giving. And when you give, you open your innocence to the other person. You open your heart. So instead of thinking of, this person should have said that, this thing, this other problem, suddenly just go down to your heart and you're just appreciating them, because suddenly you realize you don't need them. That the love you feel is your love, and you feel it when you give it. So it's not that you keep it for yourself. And if you understand that, you will look for every opportunity to give away the best of you, just to find that you become the best of you when you give it. So the key to mastering all relationships is to understand that you are only some way relating it with yourself. When you don't let other people have your love, you are actually just preventing yourself from feeling love. So that's not what you want. I hope this makes sense. I know this may sound a little cheesy to someone, but if you really get what I'm trying to say, it will make you feel free to love, and excited about every opportunity. And the power to notice that you don't need to ask people for their love. You're a giver. You're abundant. You're unlimited.